Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we all think about getting older, but what if aging isn't something we just have to accept? What if it's a problem we can actually solve? Today, we're diving into something that feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
So, the big question is, can we literally hit a reset button on our own cells? Well, a brand new study from Harvard is suggesting that the answer is yes. And get this, the key might not be some super complex gene therapy, but something much, much simpler. A chemical cocktail.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at what aging really is, and it's not what you think. Then we'll check out the first attempts to reverse it, the so-called genetic reset button. From there, we'll see how scientists started searching for a chemical key, what they found, and then wrap up with the big one. What does this all mean for you and me?
Okay, first things first. To really get what's going on here, we have to completely change how we think about aging. You know, we've always pictured it as our bodies just wearing out, like an old car. But the real story, the new science, says it's not about breaking down. It's about losing information.
And this idea has a name, the information theory of aging. It basically says the main problem isn't that our DNA gets damaged. No, the real issue is that our cells, they just forget how to read their own genetic blueprint. Think about it like this. The instruction manual is perfectly fine, but the cell has lost its bookmark and doesn't know what to do next. That's aging in a nutshell.
Here's a great way to picture it. Your DNA, your genome, that's the hardware. It's solid, it's digital, and it stays pretty stable your whole life. But the epigenome, that's the software. It's the program that's actually running on the hardware, telling your DNA what to express and when. And just like old computer software, this program is kind of analog. It gets glitchy, it gets corrupted over time, and those software bugs, that's what we call aging.
All right, so if aging is just corrupted software, then the next question for scientists was pretty obvious, right? Can we reboot the system? And amazingly, the answer was yes. Scientists figured out they could use a special set of genes, known as the Yamanaka factors, we'll just call them OSK, to basically force a factory reset on a cell. And this wasn't just in a petri dish. They actually did this. They restored vision in old mice. This was huge. It was the first real proof that, wow, maybe age reversal is actually possible.
But there was a catch, a big one. As amazing as this was, using gene therapy is incredibly complex, expensive, and it comes with real safety concerns. It's not something you can just roll out to everyone. So, this incredible breakthrough was also a massive roadblock. It forced everyone back to the drawing board to find a different way.
And that led to a really brilliant pivot. The new question became, okay, if genes can do this, could a chemical do the same thing? And just like that, the hunt was on. A massive search for simple molecules that could flip the same switches as the OSK genes, but without all the complexity and risk.
But think about that for a second. That's a huge challenge, right? I mean, how do you screen thousands and thousands of different chemicals to see if they make a cell younger? You can't just tap on the petri dish and ask the cells how they're doing. You need a fast, reliable, and totally objective way to measure age.
The solution they came up with was, frankly, genius. It's called the NCC assay. Here's how it works. In a young, healthy cell, the nucleus is like a fortress. It's sealed tight. But in an old cell, that barrier starts to leak. So the researchers cleverly engineered cells so that when they get old and leaky, these special fluorescent proteins spill out, making the cell literally glow. So dim cell, young. Glowing cell, old. It's that simple.
So now, with this glowing cell trick up their sleeve, the experiment became pretty straightforward. Step 1, age a bunch of human cells in the lab until they start glowing, confirming they're old. Step 2, use the original genetic OSK method to prove that, yep, it can turn the lights off. That's your baseline. Then step 3, start testing dozens of chemical cocktails just looking for one thing. Which of these can also turn off the glow and make the cells young again?
And this is the moment of breakthrough. Because they didn't just find one chemical cocktail that worked, they found 6 of them. And the results were just staggering. Get this, they treated aged human cells with these cocktails for only 4 days. And in that time, they reversed the cell's biological age by more than 3 years. Let that sink in for a second. 4 days of treatment for 3 years of rejuvenation.
And you can see that reversal right here. That first bar on the left, that's the age of our old cells. That's our starting line. But then look what happens after they're treated with a couple of these new cocktails. I mean, look at that drop. It's this huge dramatic reduction. It's the visual proof that these chemicals are making cells younger on a fundamental molecular level. So the key takeaways here are just incredible. They found 6 different chemical mixes that can rewind the clock in less than a week. But here's the really crucial part. They did it safely. The chemicals rejuvenated the cells without wiping their memory. A skin cell stayed a skin cell, a muscle cell stayed a muscle cell. And most importantly, there was no sign of them turning cancerous, which was a major fear with the older methods.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What does all this mean for us, outside of the lab? Finding a chemical way to reverse aging isn't just a cool science experiment. This could literally change everything we know about medicine.
I mean, just look at the comparison. The old genetic method, powerful for sure, but super complex and risky. This new chemical approach, we're talking potentially cheaper, safer, and way, way easier to scale up. Think about the difference between a complicated one-time gene therapy procedure in a hospital versus maybe one day a pill you can take or a cream you can use. All of a sudden, the idea of whole-body rejuvenation doesn't sound quite so crazy anymore, does it? And that's really the bottom line here. This research shifts the entire goalpost. For decades, the best-case scenario was just slowing down the aging process. But this gives us a real, tangible pathway to therapies that could actually reverse it. We're moving from just treating the symptoms of old age, like heart disease or arthritis, to potentially treating aging itself, the root cause of it all.
Which leaves us with this incredible, provocative idea straight from the researchers. They suggest that maybe every single cell in our bodies already holds a perfect backup copy of its youthful instructions. The information was never lost. It was just hidden. And if that's true, then maybe, just maybe, we've found the chemical keys to unlock it. The question is no longer if we can turn back our biological clocks. The question now is, how soon?